Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to day 57 of the 100-Day Project, and welcome to my channel. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for doing that. If you found me by accident and find some value here, I hope you consider subscribing, because of course that allows the channel to grow and thrive and all that jazz. Now, I don't know if you are like me in any way, but I'll tell you that most of the time when I'm printing digitals, I forget to reach for tea dye or coffee dyed paper. I just send the print order to the printer. Frankly, I don't even know if my Epson Eco Tank would pull the paper, the crinkly, dyed paper, without being ironed first. And as much as I like ironing, I haven't done paper really in any quantity. So I thought, well, okay, what would happen if I printed a digital like so? I don't remember whose this is, to be honest. It could have been, excuse me, it could have been a freebie from Rachel at Roxy Creations. Anyway, I, print it, tear the white edge off, and then I think, well, the other side is pretty stark and white. Why don't I spritz it? Now, I have several of these that I've done. So this is what the front looks like after it's, well, I guess this isn't what it originally looked like because it has been spritzed at the back. Now, I believe, based on these colors here, that it would have been coffee or tea dye. I'm just showing you a few examples so you can see what I'm talking about. I spritz this one. This is what the back looks like, which is, I think, pretty interesting. Wait, is this the same as this? Okay, so there's a half page. Obviously, I spritzed that as well. Another one, spritzed, and these are the results I'm getting on the back side. So I thought that what, excuse me, I thought that what I would do today is deliberately do this again with some digitals. And I should point out that everything that I've printed is just done on an inkjet. And this is the last one. I don't know why I had so many of these similar ones. Or maybe I was on a roll of some sort. Who knows? Anyway, okay, I'll put these aside. I've gathered together some digitals that, again, were just printed on white copy paper. Some of them are misprints or printed, send a whole bunch of things to print and not realize that, oh, brother, the nozzles needed cleaning. So then you end up with that line. So I've got a few things here. So what I've assembled is some tea in a spray bottle, some straight water, even though it might look yellowish to you. I've used this bottle for ink work in the past. Distress oxide in a couple or three colors. And this is ink water. So ink, like artists' ink, that has been, watered down with water. Go figure, eh? Anyway, so I've got some scrap pieces here. I've got some, like I say, some prints that, okay, so for instance, this one has those lines in it. And again, not the end of the world, could probably figure out something else to do with it, but for the purpose of today's video, why don't we try this? So you can see what it looks like now. And let's do, oh, the tea water, or the tea. Oh, this looks so dark in the. Usually I use my 8-cup measuring cup for things like this. Okay, you can see that it's now beginning to show a bit of color. So, okay, so perhaps we'll, I don't know how long we have to wait to see some results. And maybe this was not the greatest example to start with. Maybe I should spray more where that red stamp is, because that's likely to show a reaction. Okay, we'll set this one aside. And I just have some packing paper here, basically to sop up any excess liquid, and if color transfers, then bonus. Okay, we'll set that one there. This is one of the, oh, I can see I printed 4 to a side, or 4 to a page. This is one of the wallpaper kits in my Etsy. One of the wallpaper kits that's most different is the kitchen, sort of the retro nostalgic kitchen type. I'm going to just give it a very light, and this is speckled egg. Oh, why am I doing it on this side? Jeez. Okay, let's, well, that was kind of a boo-boo, wasn't it? I'm supposed to be doing the back side to get rid of the, oh, but see, look how nice that is. Even by spraying it on the front side, enough of it is going to the back side that obviously the white is being replaced with some kind of fairly gorgeous color. Let's see if I can add a bit more to that. Or let's see what happens if I just wet it. It should pull color from the other side. Yeah, and that was just plain water, this last bit. So these areas that are wet right now. Okay, we'll set that aside, let it sort of air dry. This is also from one of my kits, and obviously by mistake, not once but twice, I printed the one with the, what do you call it, watermark. Okay, although I could salvage this calf and this pig, you know, fussy cut them or whatever, but let's keep the page intact and see what we can do here. So with this one, okay, I'm going to use tea again because it's sort of very neutral. So again, just spritzing. And you know, on the other side, really, there was very little color other than a bit of yellowing and the black ink. So maybe, well, we'll see what happens as this sort of gets saturated. I don't see much happening. I mean, obviously it has made the animals visible to this side. But I don't know if the black ink is bit different than the colored inks in the printer, because, you know, I don't really see any blossoming going on. Anyway, I'm just going to keep stacking these up here and see what's what in the end. We have this same thing, so let's try it with crackling campfire. I guess I should put these a lot of harm's way. And maybe other people know this, but certainly I haven't. It was just basically, that's probably enough on something like that. That color isn't exactly moving very much, is it? Oxide. Thought I was quick enough getting the water to it, but it doesn't seem like it's really moving that much. But again, the image, okay, here where it's wettest, you can make out where you're going to get your steaks from and your roasts if you do your own meat cutting. Maybe I should just transfer a bit of that to the paper below. And perhaps this isn't the exact look that a person is going for, but it does, since this is basically garbage, because of the watermark, it, you know, isolates some of that if it's ripped up and becomes collage fodder. You know, that's always the default thing. If something goes wrong, it's collage fodder. Okay, here's another one with the, you know, obviously the plug nozzle. So I'm just going to keep using the T, I think, because, you know, that kind of is what most of us have, or easy enough to make up a batch. That's probably going to turn out quite nice because it's a pretty blue on this side. We'll let that do its thing. If I get through this pile that I have here and none of those are dry, then I just love this so much. Again, I think this, sorry, I can't remember whose it is, but this might even have been a freebie. But between the, you know, the peachy colors and the blue and the orange, brown, lovely, just lovely. So again, using T. Now, of course, it will create something interesting on the backside that wouldn't have been there otherwise. But we know from the dry samples that I showed you, that it also, you know, obviously changes the front a bit. So I guess that's, you know, maybe some people would consider that a downside. I don't know. Here's another one, a lot more white on this one. And it's got some, this is probably going to ruin this, but what the heck? We're here to play and to experiment. And hopefully this nozzle is not plugged because I haven't used these inks in a long time. I have several bottles of ink. Whoa. That better get watered down even further. I haven't done it for a while, but the when I that wasn't a spray. It was more like a, yeah, I'd better not use that one anymore. Anyway, what I was trying to say was I have a lot of ink, artist ink, and so when I was, had set up, and this is probably during the early days of COVID, when I had set up, myself in the kitchen to do a lot of spraying, I, basically have all these bottles with diluted ink, and created some really pretty nice. That is sure not flowing very well, but you can see that it now has added a lot of green to the front, which is not bad, I have to say, because there were a couple of shades of green there anyway. Yeah, this is probably a little more patchy than I would like. So let's see what happens if we add some tea water to that too. Yeah, anyway, I had all this ink, all these ink bottles, and I just kept, combining different colors, and I got some really pretty cool results. This now, the tea water has also served to darken up some of those areas. They're not the pristine white that they were before. But look at how cute those little flowers are. So I'll add it to the pile. What else have I got here? Oh, I have another one of these. Okay, so good comparison, if nothing else. Now, some of that is almost a bit visible, but this, of course, makes it a lot more dramatic. So, why don't I use that campfire thing again? But, side to side, people, side to side. Read the directions, woman. Maybe what I should try to do is this simultaneous. Well, it's less blobby than the other one I tried. However, it's pretty intense also. Again, this will probably end up being collage fodder, because I think that's a bit much even for me. Okay, let's try. This one is kind of neutral. Again, with the print, the plug nozzle. It seems like I'm having better results just using tea and or water. So I'm going to go back to the tea. Oh, but I didn't shake it. Let's try this one. This one had been shaken earlier. This is speckled egg. Let's see what happens. Oh, see, that's quite nice. So the difference here was saturate the paper with the tea water first, so then the distress oxide isn't so, like it sort of I want to say disseminates. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but it spreads. It's not quite as blobby as this would have been, which was on dry paper. Oh, I think that's going to be nice. Okay, let's see if we can recreate. So, let me finish shaking this one. So this will be tea and vintage photo. So tea first. Get the paper good and wet. Oh, yuck. Why is this? Oh. That is not very good. Why is it so blobby? Yeah, you want to do something like this the day after a manicure. I mean, you could even schedule it to make sure it works out that way, okay? Ay. I don't know what the deal is. This thing looked like it wants to dribble. Anyway, I like this one better. But we know that in the grunge department, this will be fine too. Okay, I mean, basically, I'm... oh, I better save these guys. Seriously, I'm saving these. I'll just sort of spread them out so they dry somewhat flat. I hate when you can't pull out a single wipe. Okay, I have a few more papers here. Some of them are just scraps. Okay, this one is, this might be a Tukes craft table paper. I think it is. Let's just go tea. Or should I give this guy? No, I'm not giving that one a second chance. And that green, I could try some of that ink. Okay, what I'm going to do is wet the paper with the tea. And then, if I hope I don't get a big blob, let me do this from a bit higher. Hope I don't get a big blob, she said optimistically. Oh, for heaven's sake, I don't like that. Let's blot this a bit. Oops, not that. I'll give it another. Again, I should have probably cleaned this knot. Oh. I guess, you know, it just goes to show that if you get it when it's still in puddle form, you can pounce and spread. And of course, as we know from experience with dyeing papers or wetting papers at all, in any way, they're pretty fragile when wet. So one thing I've never done, it would take a bit of setup, is do paper dyeing outside. I think, you know, a person would obviously need pretty calm day. Otherwise, you could spend half your life chasing the papers around the yard. Okay, I'm going to leave that one. How are we doing for time? I know this must be very riveting for you. So I've got just some little cutoffs here. This is part of a digital, one of those old two-tone doilies in my collection. This is more of that one. Another piece, a couple pieces of this one. I'm just going to, I'm going to do a puzzle here. Kind of lay these out so that I can give them all one shot. Okay, tea. I think that spray that I have that ink in is not a mister really, like this one is. I think I bought a set of 3 maybe of these at, I think it was Target when we were in the States around Christmas. So I think this will be good. And again, this is all done on an inkjet printer with just ordinary copy paper. And I don't know if this makes me a bad crafter or if it just makes sense to my way of thinking. I don't spend a great deal of money on paper. Like, I mean, I have some better paper, but just for the regular stuff, I do not spend a lot of money on paper simply because we use and abuse it. What is the point in doing that, in using expensive paper and then distressing the hell out of it? It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so that's more of those guys. Now, I'm going to try, this is part of that kitchen wallpaper that I was talking about that's in my kit, in my Etsy. So this is blue. I wonder, maybe I'll try the water and the speckled egg. No, the tea and the speckled egg. That could be very cute on blue. Yeah, those little tulips or whatever are coming through. So I'll leave that. This one is a neutral, and this is one of my crocheted, I think this might be a tablecloth. It's a heavier, thicker, maybe just tea on this one. That's going to be nice. Simple, but nice. And actually, I guess if a person were and this is on off a tablecloth, it's also a digit. So in one of my kits. Okay, well, what do we want to do? Maybe just tea here again. I guess if a person looked at this from a strict dollar and cents perspective, it's a heck of a lot cheaper to spray the back of these papers with tea than it is even using an EcoTank type printer, because of course, you know, there is a ink costs more than tea. is basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, we've got another couple pieces of wallpaper, so let's, or wallpaper digital rather. I don't think I want to do the green, so I'm just going to do tea. And then maybe I'll check out those first ones if they're still kind of really saturated. I'll fire up the heat gun. Okay, so maybe let me get rid of this wet paper. Let some of these guys air dry. Go to the bottom of the pile. So that this was the first one. So you can see that I didn't really wet this very much, and where I didn't wet it, obviously there's been no color transfer. So we'll call that an experiment. This was the cutting chart for the animals. Now look at this. The black ink is showing up as purple, which is pretty cool. Let me just quickly, I hope this is plugged in. Yes, it is. Not perfect, but I'll set that aside. Let's look at some of the others. Okay, this was, what was this? I think this was just tea. Based on this side, it looks like I sprayed it on this side and I used speckled egg. So, you know, we can already see that the more saturated the paper is, the more color you get, obviously. And it's interesting that none of these colors that are appearing here appear on this side. See, this is kind of earth tones and whatever. Here we've got pinks and purples and blues. Not much there. This is the green ink. Okay, I'm going to stop that drying because, again, boring. But I think, oh, I'm so sorry. I think that what these early results show, whoops, is that you cannot really predict what you're going to get. Here, okay, I use speckled egg and tea, I suspect. I've already forgotten. This side, we've activated some green. This side is pink and blue. This, look at this one. That brown has turned mauve, lilac, purple. This one, this little piece of embroidery here, I mean, the colors, no, the colors really haven't changed, but this has bled and gotten fuzzy. So, again, maybe that's a look that a person wants. Same thing here. There is no pink or purple in this design, and yet, look at, oh, this is a different one. This is my green and ecru embroidery, or doily, I mean. Pink and blue. This was, okay, this is, and I added green to it and kind of diffused it a bit and blotted it. This looks, I mean, this looks kind of cool, I think, with the, you know, the orange has turned pink. What is this? Okay, that is blue. So some of the blue is blue, but some of it is green that has turned blue. This one is pretty subtle. I must not have saturated it as much. This one, as I was drying this a bit, I mean, it's still damp to the touch. I was thinking that the blocked nozzle or nozzles kind of almost make it look like a striped wallpaper. I mean, I love this, but I gotta say I love that too. So that would be a nice signature page. This, again, was pretty subtle. This I didn't dry at all, but you can see that that blue is starting to emerge. This is just a wee bit wet. So those were just those odd pieces that I had done. Oh, I must have blown this over there. So that'll be interesting when it dries. I've shown you that. Shown you that. Again, same thing. Turn blue and pink. Okay, this was that really neutral tablecloth. Let's give this a blast of some air. Okay, less pigment on this side because it was, you know, quite a neutral. It's kind of a background paper. So basically all we've got on this side is a wee bit of that pattern showing through, and it's essentially just a really light tea dye color. This was the scripty page with sort of blotchy vintage photo. But you can see that again, the ink is turning pinky mauvey on this side. This, I'm not going to, I mean, this is fine. Like, I think any of these pages are usable. Obviously, I prefer some over others. Okay, this was that little bit of kitchen wallpaper, a scrap corner I had taken. I'd fussy cut the other images. So you can see that on this side, what was blue has turned slightly with a greeny yellow tinge. And these flowers are starting to look a bit mauve. It's emphasized that seam, which would be sort of like a fake grout line. And here are these animals again with mauve. Nothing much to write home about here because I didn't wet it very much. I'm going to stop there because obviously you have seen the potential. In what you can get. I guess it stands to reason that the more colorful something is on the right side, the more likely you are to get more color on the back side. And it almost has a watercolor effect, you know, with blooms. Anyway, I'm stopping there. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you choose to try something like this yourself because as I said before, there are several good reasons. Cost effective, easy, and yeah, it just gives some interesting and kind of unpredictable effects. So if you like living on the edge, not knowing what's happening next, this could be just the technique you need to try. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.